Hi everybody, welcome to Module 6, Week 6. We have exciting new stuff going on, kind of a continuation from last week's assignment. This week we're exploring the model view controller design pattern, multi-threading, and creating a new game called Build. First up, MVC. Basically, it's a way of separating the data from the graphics. The model is everything that is involved with the data objects and the methods that handle them. And the view is all the graphics, the GUI related classes and methods, and the controller goes between those. So the view and the model don't really interact. They both interact with the controller that sends and receives data from both of them, like a mediator. Phase 1 is straightforward, converting our suit match game to MVC. One of the benefits of this is that it makes your program really neat. So this is like a sample main method for a suit match game. I mean, there might be more to it when I finish it or when we finish it, but a lot of the stuff is handled by the separate classes. So the model represents the data for your program. It also contains objects and their methods. Most of this should have been completed in assignment 5. Not much new for just phase 1. I think I just would rename the class card game outline to model and then include the card, hand, and deck classes. And that's about it. For the view class, I think it should extend JFrame. It's kind of like the card table class from last week's assignment. It handles basically all the visual stuff, has methods for creating all the panels, buttons, and labels. And I think the way that I like to do it is to pass in action listeners to some of the methods to draw the buttons. And I like to define the action listeners in the controller class. So here's the controller class that I'm thinking about, which implements action listener. And you can see you instantiate the constructor accepts arguments of a view and a model. So this controller class has the game's view and the game's model in it as parameters or as arguments. So it has all that information, so it can interact with both the view and the model from here. I also like to, like I said, I put the action listener implementation, and so that allows me to define the action performed method for my buttons here. Phase 2 is pretty straightforward. Basically just creating a timer on a new thread. Not too tricky. I tried this out already a little bit, and the only problem I had was getting the GUI aspects to display properly. I think I ended up using a JText area. But basically, we need to create a timer class that inherits the thread class. And then inside of that, you need to override the run method. And all of your timer calculations go inside the run method, so that when you instantiate this class and you invoke the start method, it'll do whatever you put in the run. You'll need to attach this to some buttons, which we've been doing, so it shouldn't be too hard. And I think it says something about using a do nothing method. Do nothing is something that I saw in the book, and it's basically just like a helper method that uses the thread.sleep method, which pauses the thread for however many milliseconds you put as an argument. One thing about the sleep method is it'll throw an exception, and so you need to take care of that with the try catch block or throws in your signature. As for phase 3, I think all of this should be really similar to last week's assignment 5, the suit match game. I think the model should be really pretty much the same. The view should be very similar, but maybe with little differences. Like basically the big differences are you have to add the timer panel. You have to have buttons for the timer to start and stop. You have to have 3 cards in the middle. So like 3 community stack cards in the middle. And so those cards will require a little alteration of the model. You'll need to add a new card array for those 3 cards into the model, and then also add some methods for accessing and changing those. And the view will also need a way to display and update these card icons as they change. I think also something you'll need to add into the model is a way to compare 2 cards to see if they're adjacent, since this build game is basically, you compare 2 cards to see if they're adjacent. Like 2-3 is adjacent, or King Queen, and those are the valid cards you can play. So you'll need a method to check if a card being played is valid. You'll need to add a button that says cannot play, so you pass your turn. And this is the button that will implement this, or it'll count the scoring at the end of the game to see who won. So if you can't play, you push the button, and then that increments your score, and whoever has the highest score or the highest number of passed turns at the end loses, basically. One more thing I thought about is maybe a little tricky, I'm not sure, but to play a card in the middle, you have to, as a player, you click a button for a card in your hand, then you click a button on the stack in the middle. So the model needs a way to transfer a card from the hand to the community pile if it's a valid card. And I think that could be really easy if you just maybe copy the hand card into a temporary card object. And then afterwards, if it is valid, the player draws a new card, which is not too difficult either. And that's it. Pretty much straightforward. Good luck, everybody.